This is my first rifle hunt ever for elk. Look, 9 mile an hour is a half mil. There ain't 9 mile an hour up there.
And you know I've been tested.
925.
Back down, no, I'll never surrender. I've seen the proof, I know the truth. This is what I was made to do. I was born for this. I was born for this.
My name is Wes Rolan, 41 years old. I started hunting back when I was probably 15 years old on large game animals. When I was a kid, I always just took the three-wheeler down the ditch bank hunting fish or rabbits or whatever pretty much moved. I just always had a passion for it. When I started hunting large game, you know, I went out with my dad on some mule deer hunts, and nothing big, but it was just the time that I shared with him on shooting a forked mule deer. You know, it was just that passion that I shared with my dad that kept me moving forward. I hunted archery for about 15 years and was successful many a times down in the Gila shooting, you know, bulls. I started shooting competition in 2014 in the PRS world, and then the NRL come out last year. Butch and Matt out there in Oklahoma, they built some snipe tacks and they pushed the 300 grainer a little bit faster, so you have a little more energy downrange for further shots on animals. Well, I've always had my 338 Edge that Butch's Guns here in Albuquerque built for me, and it's always been just a solid cold bore shot every time I've taken numerous oryx with it, and I can trust that cold bore shot. So I have the confidence built in this gun for further shots on animals. We got the draw results, and I found out that I drew my first choice elk tag with a rifle. It was, I almost drew the governor tag for the state. You know, I was so excited because a good friend of mine, Casey Hendricks, he owns a large ranch down south, and he told me to put in for this area. It's the wilderness forest that borders his ranch, and there's lots of elk out there. It was just something that I'd never done before with a rifle, you know, hunted elk. And I had a rifle that I was confident in, excited about the hunt. We find out April, and the hunt wasn't until the end of October. When I started in the long range stuff, old Curtis Winter and we got kind of grouped up together, been friends for a long time, and Curtis and I have always been, you know, that 500, 600 yard range should be the furthest shot you should take on a large animal. We knew that the upcoming of bullets, higher BCs, retain energy further out, that when you build to these larger calibers, you can take larger animals at extended range as long as you have the velocity and the energy once that bullet hits that animal. It's just something that's addicting to you, because when you miss that one target, you know what you did wrong. So as soon as you miss, your brain automatically knows, and your fundamentals that you've put in so much time and work of shooting, you know how to make that correction. So if you did make a bad shot on an animal, you can send the next round within 1.5 to 2 seconds, and you're gonna make that correction. But on that Thursday, you know, after we got camp set up, we went out to a place that Casey knows about, and we probably seen, I want to say 150, 200 head of elk out there on that whole ridge line right there in the wilderness side of it, you know. And we seen some bulls and some decent bulls, but nothing that we were really looking for yet. Swarovski EL12s are amazing what they can see. The first day of the hunt, that was some priceless memories right there. And sure enough, right as soon as we stepped out of the truck, you know, we heard a couple bulls bugling, the cows down there talking back and forth to each other. And that's when Casey seen that bull come off the top of the ridge there, and that was a bull we hadn't seen yet.
And then we'll head up, get on this little, there's a little bit of a hill there, a little bit elevated, and check it out.
Okay.
And then if I don't see nothing, then we'll start working up on those ridges and just take our time and glass them.
We had seen those bulls and cows below us, and they were probably roughly 180, 200 yards. So we kind of had to back up a little bit and cross over that fence and not make any noise. So we got over the fence and got through there. Got over there, and then we thought we lost our bull because he had actually walked behind a bunch of brush up there on the side of the hill. So we didn't know if he had ran down to the bottom where those other elk were at and screaming, or where he had went. So then we kind of kept moving forward, and we found that little opening, and that's when he came out from behind those trees. And then Casey's like, yeah, that's a solid bull. So he's like, just hold on. And then Casey walked over and made sure the two that were closer, there wasn't nothing better in that herd. And once he came back, he gave us the thumbs up that that's the bull you want to take. Sean Terrell was there. He had his rangefinder, his Leicas. He pulled 921, I pulled 920 with my 15s. When we laid down and right before we prepared to make the shot on the elk, we checked all our atmospheric conditions. So that morning we had like an 8 to 10 mile an hour wind, you know, left to right.
Like that shot. Here we go.
After I made the shot, you know, we all stood up and gave high fives, and we were hugging and stuff, having a good old time. And then what was exciting to see is why you can see that suppressor on the end of that thing, how it doesn't scare or spook the animals. Because after my bull was down and dead 5 minutes later, that herd of elk that was down below us, they all started walking up the hill, and they walked within 10 feet of my bull and never knew we were there. Had Keith Campbell there, Sean Terrell, Casey. It made it very easy to pack that elk out. We only had to make one trip down the hill. What a good New Mexico bull. Process our elk, and once we got it all cut up and packed on our frame packs, we all took a break for a little while and drank a beer and laughed and shared some stories, and then here we go with a hike out. So when we were walking back down, we come up along the fence right there, and there was a little draw, and I want to say about 150 yards, there was 2 mule deer bucks that were young, but they were still coming up in their prime, and they're gonna be something worth looking at here in the next few years. The next morning we wake up because we had cut some bear tracks in the road, and I had a bear tag with me. So we drive back out to that little draw where we seen the bear, and we're driving around, and all of a sudden I spot this bear, and he's running up the side of this rock bluff. And I got excited, you know, Brad, jump out, grab your camera. Keith, grab the rifle, and I'm trying to park the truck on the side of this little slope. And as soon as I turn the truck off, I hear some dogs howling, you know. So it just kind of took it out of me when I heard them dogs, because we knew the houndsmen that run Casey's place, they had already started their dogs on this bear. So it's not fair to the hunter they have with them to shoot that bear out from underneath them. So when we got back to camp that afternoon on Sunday, you know, JR and Rusty and all of them had got back already, and Casey. So we started, Casey had a couple questions on his kestrel. He's just now getting into long range stuff. So I was helping Casey out with his kestrel, and then, well, they kind of got excited about the long range stuff. So if I hold 1 mil, I'm good.
Less than a mil, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just need to spend some time messing with it. That was the main
Sure.
thing. Heck yeah.
1,074.
That little short barreled gun too, huh? Crazy.
Okay, the crosshair is the bottom of the leg of the crosshair.
Okay, the first big line is going to be 1 mil. So put that line on it, because it's only calling for 1 mil of wind. Okay, Robbie. You got that rock right there like this, and then you have the top piece of the rock that comes down. You have a little crack on the top. There's a gray piece of rock right here on top of this rounder one where that crack runs down. On that point. That's how you capture your wind
Okay.
and your target.
That's what, because I thought you didn't just point out and capture.
Yeah, you hit it.
You hit it.
You hit the white rock you shot at.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, never shot that gun before.
Yeah.
When they shot and they're shooting at a rock like maybe the size of a basketball, and they hit just 2 inches to the left of it, the life that you see come out of those guys, like, oh my God, this is really possible, was real rewarding to me. So on the J. Allen, with Lisa Jones and the Really Right Stuff tripod, Michael Hanel, those two teamed up together, and they did what they needed to do, but they made a phenomenal product. And Really Right Stuff, now they believe it's called the S.O.A.R line. And what it is a lot of the shooting world. So Really Right Stuff is big in the camera world, photography world, but when they come out with the S.O.A.R stuff, it attaches to the J. Allens. They have now, they come out this year with the ARCA rail. So it's a full length rail that we can slide back and forth on here. And we can also do it with our bipods that go on the bottom of our rifles. My rifle, you know, I use Bartlien barrels, Krieger barrels. My chassis are J. Allen, triggers are Bix and Andes, Jules. Vortex optics are huge. They help out so much in the world of hunting, the competition shooting world, and those guys have been super supportive to me. Butch's Guns out of Albuquerque in Oklahoma, phenomenal people. And then just want to say thank you to, you know, the Hendricks down there allowing us to hunt their ranch.